Just also another
Well,
reminder.
thank you.
Also, please reminder to stay on mute unless you've been asked to unmute. If you have any questions, please direct them to the chat. And I will now pass this over to Carrie.
Thank you very much. And I'm very excited to be able to speak with a new group of individuals who are running or starting their business. I will eventually be turning off my video and switching to a slide presentation. But in the meantime, because we're just a small group, I would really love to just know what sort of products and services that you offer. So when I call your name, if you wouldn't mind unmuting, and then just introduce yourself quickly and the products and services that you offer. So we'll start with Jenny.
Well, I own Simple Desk, and yeah, so we sell marketing, accounting, administration processes. I think that's it for services. And I also own Pen and Paper Co. And I sell premium paper products that are created by women for women.
Nice, lovely. So yeah, having a lot of different products and services definitely can be very challenging. All right, so let's see who else. Alyssa.
Hi there, can everybody hear me?
I can hear you.
Perfect, thank you. I don't actually offer any products or services yet. I'm in the process of building up a chip truck business, and we're going to be offering a bunch of different blooming onions as our main product in the East End of Kingston. I'm very excited about that. I say we, it's going to be me and my business partner. So we're actually building it up right now. So hopefully this helps.
Excellent. Well, I like blooming onions and my daughter lives in Kingston, so you'll have to email me and let me know where I can stop and get a blooming onion.
Perfect. That sounds great.
I see Barbie. All right. I see Barbie. I can only see a phone when the presenter is speaking. So that is because I am on a headset, which is connected to my cell phone. And the reason I do that is so there isn't any lag. So I will be turning my video off so you can't see my lips going and things happening. You'll just be able to hear me once I get the slide presentation. So the fact that the phone comes up when I'm talking is because that's why I'm talking through my phone.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so Erin, no problem. Erin, we have you next. Darren still with us?
Yeah, hey, how's it going?
Good.
I'm Aaron. I run the high-powered detailing in Sterling. So for products and services, obviously I clean cars and do a bunch of like paint correction, ceramic coating, and I'm opening a second business next door doing the same thing, but doing PPF and film and vinyl wrap, decals, that type of thing. So I'm hoping.
Well, I love all. Excellent. I love all the business ideas. What I would love to do is have you put all your contact information in the chat, because I go that way quite often, and there's a number of services that you're mentioning that I'm interested in, and probably the rest of the group as well. But it will also give you a little chance to do some networking. So in the chat, if you put your name, your company, any of your social media handles, if you have a website, put that in. And then at the end of the workshop, if you go to where the chat is, and there's three little dots there, if you click on that, it will save the chat. So it will save everybody's information. And then if you hear something from somebody that, you know, you might want to look into their services, or you may know somebody who wants their services, when you click on the save chat, it automatically downloads to your computer or your laptop. And there'll be a Zoom file there, and it will just have the date of the conversation. So by all means, please put your marketing and contact information in the chat. Thank you. Okay, Barbie, I have you next on my list.
Hi, I'm starting a new business in June called I'm doing gourmet hot dogs. I have a contract.
Excellent.
with Centennial Park. Start in June until September.
Excellent, excellent. We have one in Bancroft and it's completely busy all the time, so that's wonderful. Okay, Melissa. Is Melissa still with us?
I don't see her on here. I'm looking, sorry.
Okay, maybe she had to pop off. Is Christine here?
Hi, I'm here. I am starting, this is a startup seasonal business, done at home, a business of selling cut flowers.
Cut flowers. Okay, wonderful. So you have them in your gardens already and then you just sell them at farmers markets, is that right?
Yes, or and also I'm thinking of maybe, maybe co-oping into apartment complexes for people who may want to do that.
Okay, very interesting. Yeah, I have a little side hustle that's a perennial garden business, so I know exactly how these seasonal businesses work. Wonderful. And the last person I have is HP, so I don't know who HP is, other than a really yummy sauce.
Hi, it's Sandy Abbott here, and I am using an old
Hi,
computer.
Sandy.
I have no idea how to get HP off of there. So if I was sitting beside Brianna, she'd be telling me. I'm joining you from beautiful Prince Edward County, and I am a business support counselor, consultant, whatever, for Prince Edward County startups and businesses that are in continuing to grow or expand, or even in the last couple of years just want to stay in business. I think pricing and costing and your topic today is probably the absolute #1 thing people need to get right, and I love learning anything more I can about it so I can help people. So I'm really looking forward to hearing what you have to say, Carrie.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. And yeah, products and pricing, though it seems really simple, can be really challenging. So hopefully I'll be able to provide you with some tips and tricks and techniques and some new information that will help you better price your products and services, and also be able to describe them to potential customers. And hi, Luke, how are you? Did you want to say hi to everybody? Luke works at the Small Business Center as well.
Hello, everyone. Just checking in.
Excellent. Is there anybody I missed? Because I've taken down my who's here. I just have the chat up. Okay, well, I think what we'll do is we'll get started. I'm going to stop my video and I'm going to share my screen. And then if somebody could just let me know that, in fact, the screen is being shared.
So far, so good.
Okay, and I'm also going to just put up my chat. So again, as Brianna mentioned, if you have any questions, just pop them into the chat, and I have my chat box open so I will be able to see them as well. So today we're going to talk about building your product portfolio and pricing strategies. And I know what kind of challenges this can have, especially if you have more than one major product or service. So I'm going to help you determine, what products and services do you really need to promote, and how do you need to promote them, and how do you build this product portfolio, and how do you describe the services and the products that you're offering? What information is it the consumer is interested in? And then we're going to talk about 9 different pricing strategies, because you could set your price point at a certain price based on some research and information you've obtained, but you might want to use some different pricing strategies for different reasons. So we're going to look at what some of those pricing strategies are and how different companies use those pricing strategies. So I just like to get started with providing a few statistics. So the first one I want to talk about is Google Consumer Insights. So this came exactly from the Google Customer Insights report. And it says that 80% of shoppers surveyed say product information and pictures are important to them when they're deciding which brand or which retailer to buy from. So what I see here is being able to explain what your product or service is all about, how it benefits your client, and what it looks like is important to individuals when they're thinking about buying your product or service. So these product descriptions are essential for a successful online business in particular, but also for businesses that are services, because people will go online to find out more information about your business. So the information helps consumers with their decision-making process when contemplating purchasing your product or service. Now, product photos capture attention. If you've probably heard the saying, a photo is worth 1,000 words. So shoppers want to ensure that the product they are considering matches their expectations, whether they're looking for specific colors, sizes, styles, or other qualities that make or break their opinion of the product or services that you're offering. People will make visual judgments very quickly, so providing a great first impression will only help you win their business. If you have an e-commerce business, there are some information and some numbers that you might be interested in. So what drives shoppers to purchase a product? Is it the branding, the quality of the product, the design, or the price? According to research, 60% of online shoppers worldwide consider e-consumer pricing as their very best criteria, or the very first criteria affecting their buying decision. So I know when I'm looking for a particular product or service, and I know exactly what I'm looking for, price comes into play a lot of the time, but not always. Sometimes I take a look at the quality, the benefits, the warranties, value added, shipping. There's a lot of other factors other than price that help me with my decision making, but definitely pricing is one of those factors. So 90% of customers or consumers invest their time to hunt online for the best deal. 86% of consumers say it's important to compare prices from different sellers. 71% of consumers believe they will get a better deal online than in a brick and mortar store. And 60% of consumers consider pricing as the very first criteria on the buying decision. So again, looking back at when I'm looking for a particular product, for example, the headsets I just purchased, I knew exactly based on the research that I did online, going to different manufacturers' websites, reading reviews, I knew exactly what the headset was that I wanted. Then what I wanted to do is, one of the trends nowadays is people are wanting to shop local. So I did look around all the local suppliers to see if they had this particular headset or even anything comparable to what it was I was wanting to purchase. Unfortunately, because I live in a small community, I was not able to find the product that I was looking for and went online to purchase it. But again, when I was purchasing online, I wanted to make sure, because of the price of the product, that it had a very good warranty and had very good customer support. So not only is pricing important, but also, you know, what is involved with that portfolio the business has for their products or services. And according to recent research, more than 80% of buyers compare the offers of several stores in search of a better bargain. So you might want something from a local store, but you might go to a number of people's websites to see who has the better price or the better bargain. So really, retailers that collect and analyze market data can map their position against their competitors, and not only realtors, but also retailers and service businesses and online business. So you want to be able to offer optimal prices that are competitive, but also catch the buyer's eyes first and foremost. So this really has to do with, driving them to your website with your digital marketing strategies, having a good pricing strategy, and having a great product portfolio. So the agenda today is we're going to take a look at product portfolios. We're going to look at categorizing your products and services to drive sales and your marketing activities. We're going to look at understanding the 4 dimensions of the product mix, which is length, width, depth, and consistency. And we're going to talk about the importance of product description. So what sort of things do you need to put into your product descriptions, whether you're talking about them verbally, have them on a landing page on your website, through social media, or in a brochure. We're also going to talk about different pricing strategies, so the roles consumers and competitors play in your pricing. And then we're going to look at 9 pricing strategies to help you maximize your profits. We're also going to take a look at break-even analysis, and this is really important for a lot of businesses, and it's a tool used to determine your level of profitability. How many units or how many sales do you need to make to be able to break even? Once you break even, anything above that is profit. So production and sales level, the number of units that need to be sold to cover your costs. So these are your overhead costs, your variable costs, and your fixed costs. And we'll talk a bit more about those. And you can use it, the break-even analysis, as a management tool to help you with cost calculations, cost control and monitoring, using it as a motivational tool for yourself or your staff, and it also helps with determining your different pricing strategies. So the first thing we're going to look at is your product portfolio. And the product portfolio is the complete collection of the products or services that a business sells. The portfolio may be straightforward and consist of only a single product, or it may consist of multiple products and diverse product lines. So entrepreneurs believe these products and services are the solution to a customer's problem, or you wouldn't have opened or started your business. So what we want to do is understand what the potential customers or the consumer's problem is and how you're going to solve that problem. So the first thing we need to take a look at is on page 3 of 10, there's a little worksheet, and feel free to use this book to take notes. But we want to look at these 4 steps to consider before you put your product and service portfolio together, or as you're refining or reviewing or changing your product portfolio. So the first step is, what are the customer's problems to be solved? So you may have a number of different target markets. You may have a number of different customer characteristics. So you would put together your portfolio or your product portfolio, it could be products or services, to meet the needs of a particular market, to be able to solve a particular pain point or a specific problem that prospective customers have or are experiencing. So like any problem, customers may have some pain points. And these can be diverse and as varied as the people or the customers or the prospects themselves. So the 4 different pain points that are categorized basically are, it could be a financial pain point, could be your prospects are spending too much time or too much money on the services that they're offering right now or using right now, and they want to reduce their spend. It could be a productivity pain point, and maybe prospects are wasting too much time and energy using their current provider, or maybe they don't have a current provider for their solution, or they're not using products that will help them. So you want to be able to help them use their time more efficiently. It could be a process pain point. So your prospects might want to improve internal processes, such as assigning leads to sales reps or nurturing low priority leads. So again, depending on the nature of your business, your customers might have different pain points. And the last one is possibly a support pain point. So your prospects aren't receiving the support that they need at the critical stages of the customer journey or the sales process. So you can think about, different areas and different products and different services that you might purchase, and you might just practice to determine, okay, well, what are my pain points? Why am I buying this product, or why am I buying this service? To be able to help you identify the different pain points and how you might be able to work with your consumers' different pain points. So viewing customer pain points in these categories allows you to start thinking about how to position your company, your product as a solution to the prospect's problems and what it is that you can provide to keep them happy. The second step is providing your solution. So what is the solution you are offering to alleviate customers' problems or challenges? You must be able to develop the ability to select and offer the right products and services, thus mastering the term or the product market fit. So making sure that your product or services fits the market that you have researched are looking for your products and services. The third step is knowing your target audience, and you probably hear this all the time. And I know that a lot of companies, I'll just take the hot dog example, that, anybody that eats food, most people like hot dogs, so my market is everybody, and I agree with you on that point. However, different markets will want different results or have different expectations for your product and services. So some markets might want very simple toppings. Other markets might want very unusual toppings. So, to compete in the marketplace, you might not just have Heinz mustard, but you might have dill mustard and spicy mustard and, 4 different kinds of ketchup. So again, knowing who the market is that are going to be consuming your products or services is very important. And this is called market segmentation. And if you can master the art of market segmentation, I can almost guarantee it's going to be easier to reach those different markets and be able to meet the needs and solve their problems. So how you would do that is you break them down. So the different segmenting methods you might use could be geographical. So sometimes you might just provide your products locally, which could be just the neighborhood or could be in a particular area, such as a town or a municipality. It could be more regional. It could be across Ontario. It could be national. You might sell to across Canada or even globally. But it's a really good idea to understand where your market is coming from and try not to be everything to everybody. So what I usually try to do or suggest to people who are starting a business is start off small. And then once you've identified your different markets and you're really clear on who it is you're trying to reach, then you can reach out geographically. The next area you want to take a look at is there demographic characteristics that you can identify for who you anticipate are going to be your customers? So again, I am able to determine geographically where I want to start out with my marketing. I know the demographic characteristics of my target audience. I know their age. In my case, gender could be either or. Income brackets usually important. Social status, life stage, and some of those issues are important to other businesses as well. I do more firmographics, so I'll talk about that in a minute. But again, the more you know about your target audience, and you might have like 2 or 3 or 4, like I say. But if one of your audiences is children and another's baby boomers and another seniors, they could all be using your products or services, but they might have different expectations. They might have different wants, they might have different needs, and you need to talk to them differently, especially when you're putting your product descriptions together. Another area you can look at is psychographics. So sometimes these play heavily depending on the product or service that you're offering. So knowing, you know, potential customers' opinions or what their hobbies are, what their interests are, their values, concerns, attitudes, and so forth. When you do business to business, so you're probably more looking at firmographics, and this is an area that for 2 of my businesses I use very heavily. So I would take a look at the sector, the industry, the size, the title and position, and where they're located. So I've been able to generate business that could last me a whole year, not paying any marketing fees, but being able to reach out if I know exactly who I'm trying to reach. So I'll give you an example. In my history doing training and facilitation, I was not only working with entrepreneurs, but I was also working with not-for-profit organizations. And with the not-for-profit organizations, you know, talked to some different not-for-profit organizations that I had involvement with, which were family health teams and long-term care. And I talked to them and asked them, you know, what were some of their challenges? So what I identified was because they get ministry funding, they had to be able to evaluate their programs. So I spent 6 months putting together a program evaluation workshop, and then I reached out to family health teams across Ontario and long-term health teams across Ontario. I was able to find out exactly who would make the buying decision, because that's who you want to contact. So knowing what position that individual was in, and then finding out who that was. So doing a lot of online research, going to different websites, finding out who that person was, grabbing their name, their title, and their email address, and putting a database together. I was able to, just in those 2 industries, generate 2 years worth of business. So the more you know about your products and services and who are going to be purchasing them, the easier it is to reach out to those individuals and get them started down your sales funnel. And then the 4th step is your value proposition. And a value proposition is just a simple statement that summarizes why a customer would choose your product or services. And a great value proposition might highlight what makes you different from your competitors. But it's always focused on how customers define your value. So in the worksheet and on the slide here, I have a template that was developed, and this is one that is super, super easy. Basically, it's for whoever your target market is, and you might have a different value proposition for each of your target markets or each of your buyer personas. So for your target market, who, and then you have a statement of their need or the problem that needs to be solved, our product, our service, our solution, our company is, and then the product category, and then a statement of benefit or value. So I'll show you an example of that in a minute. And then Steve Blank has a really easy one. It's Steve Blank's value proposition is, we help X do Y doing Z. So we help X do Y doing Z. Oh, the first one was Jeff Moore's value proposition statement. So again, these templates are widely used. They're very simple to use. And if you can't write your value proposition, you don't know a few things. So one, you might not know exactly what market you're trying to reach, so who your target customer is, or you're not clear on the problem that you need to solve for them, or you're not clear on what product or service to offer them. But once you can write a really good value proposition and run it by, you know, your friends or family or someone at the small business center, and ask them, when you say the statement, do they know exactly what it is you do? So I'm just going to go through an example, and this is a window cleaning business. So obviously the problem that the consumer is going to have is they have dirty windows. So I think, okay, everybody has dirty windows if they own a house or an apartment, but what's their pain points? Why would they hire somebody to clean their windows? So one of the pain points could be productivity. It takes time and effort to be able to go out and clean your windows and clean them well. And then there's also a process. So, you know, you might not have the proper equipment, or you might not have the ability. Maybe climbing ladders isn't your thing, or maybe you're not very efficient because you don't have the right tools or equipment. So there's a number of pain points that a homeowner would have with regards to their having dirty windows and possibly needing someone to clean them. Another concern could be safety. You know, some windows aren't on the main floor. You might have to go up ladders, and ladders can be dangerous. And also, when windows aren't cleaned regularly, all kinds of stuff builds up on them, and some of it is corrosive. So it could be damaging the longevity of your window. Plus, there's also the option of chipping or scratching or cracking a window, which I have done before when I've tried to do them myself. So there's a lot of pain points a potential consumer might have who need their windows washed. The solution would be to hire a professional. So why would they hire a professional? Well, with regards to broad productivity and process, proper equipment and trained technicians show up all ready to roll with all the necessary supplies, and they can generally knock out this task in about half the time it would take a homeowner. This is due to both the experience that they have and the fact that their only job is to focus on cleaning windows without distractions. So hiring a cleaning service or window cleaning service also means that someone else will take care of all the extra pesky details, like scrubbing the windowsills and vacuuming up dead bugs. So they also might be able to spot potential problems. So there's a lot of reasons, there's a lot of solutions for the homeowner to hire a professional. But we also have to look at the target market, because while every homeowner has windows, they might not be our target market. So it might have to do with their income, or the neighborhood that they're in, or the properties that they own. So the window cleaning services average client would be a homeowner, a business owner, or a commercial property owner. With the company's target market, they would probably also have to look at their buying behavior. So when typically do these individuals purchase these services? Do they have the ability to pay for these services? And then how do I reach them? Because having somebody else clean your window is sort of a luxurious service. So usually high income houses, baby boomers, or 60 plus would be your ideal clientele. You also want to think about what is the value proposition that you can offer somebody when you're cleaning their windows. So not only can you optimize the customer service experience, but you have state-of-the-art equipment. You might have a 4-stage water filtration system with a water-fed pole and a boar's bristle brush, which is very easy on the windows, and it also prevents streaks. The 4-stage water filtration system takes out all the impurities that you would have if you use plain tap water or well water. The window cleaner might offer satisfaction guaranteed, so they will stay there until you're satisfied with the job. They're offering a courteous and friendly service. They're fully licensed and insured, and they use eco-friendly soap. So these are all value propositions that might be important to certain consumers. So being able to explain what your value proposition is. You also want to take a look at not necessarily being the lowest price in town, because people who are claiming, you know, we're the lowest price in town may not be able to match a higher price person's professionalism or quality. They might not be trained, have the best business ethics, that sort of thing. So if you're charging a little more for your services, you want to make sure that the consumer sees value. So that could be in quality, that you have competitive prices, that you provide good customer service experiences, all of those things. So I think I'm going to stop here for a second and just see if anybody has any questions. So by all means, please type them into the chat. I do have my chat box up, and I will monitor them. In the meantime, I will move on to the next slide. And we're still on page 4 of 10 of the workbook that if you haven't seen it by now, it's in the chat or you would have received it from Brianna via email. Okay, so we're going to look at product categories right now. So there's 4 different product categories, and they can be thought of as a pipeline. And this helps to motivate you to build a product portfolio that includes both larger as well as smaller items in a way that customers might begin with small items and maybe order introductory products before they're ready to buy a company's core or add-on products. So introductory products are initial products marketed to create a customer relationship. So these might be products you provide on sales, they might be giveaway samples, it could be a free webinar, it could be any number of things, but it's something that you use as a lure to get people interested in your products and services. It could be a buy one, get one free. Core products are the solutions to your customers' problems. So these are the main reasons why people would want to use your products or buy your services. Then you have what are called add-on products. And add-on products complement the core products. And then you can also bundle those products. So by providing appealing, high-end, and more professional options. So I'm going to show you an example. So we're a pet store, and our introductory product is just a little toy, a chew toy for a puppy. We offering them at half price, or if you come in and buy a puppy chow, we'll give you one. So some sort of introductory product that is going to lure people either to go to our website or come to our store and make a purchase. The next area is our core products. So our core products could be, and this is just a very short list of core products, but collars, food, and training. So if somebody gets a new puppy, they're going to need a collar, they're going to need to feed that puppy, and they're probably going to want to train that puppy. Looking at some add-on products, if they have a leash, they might want, or if they have a collar, they might want a leash. They want doggy scooping bags and maybe a little name tag if the dog gets away. If they're buying food, they'll need bowls, maybe portable bowls. And if they're doing puppy training, you might have a little belt with little puppy snacks in, and you get little puppy snacks to help with moving your training along, depending on how you're going to train your dog. And then lastly, you might want to bundle, some products. It could be just a collar with a bandana or a great big package that is in a puppy bed or a dog bed. So these are all different ways that you have very similar products and product lines, but you can add on and sell more if you think the process through. The next area is the product mix strategy. So what is a product mix strategy? Well, a successful product mix strategy enables a company to focus on its efforts and resources of the products and product lines within its offerings that have the greatest potential for growth, market share, and revenue. So I've had product lines before where I thought they would sell really well and they didn't sell as well as anticipated. And then I've had other ones that take off, and you have to be able to manage your product lines. So you have to be able to identify what these lines are, have some sort of metrics or key performance indicators to be able to identify what's selling, when is it selling, should I get rid of it, is it no longer meeting the needs of our clients, have the client's needs changed. So having a really good understanding of the different products and services that you offer is crucial to your business. Early on, I realized that, you know, I could do so many things for so many different people, but it was really spreading me out too thin. So when I decided to focus, bring my line in, bring my line in, bring my line in, it was much easier to sell the products and services and then add on to the different lines. So by looking at this, there's going to be a couple of strategies you might be able to determine for your business. So a product line refers to the product category or brand marketed by the company. So for example, a product line for Coca-Cola is beverages. They perform a similar function, they offer similar benefits, they target similar customers and are similarly priced and follow a similar distribution channel. So that would be your product line. The product mix is the total number of product lines and individual products or services offered by a company. So additionally, referred to as your product assortment or product portfolio. Product mixes vary from company to company. Some companies have very few. Some companies have multiple product lines with multiple products in each lines, but others are more limited. So a product mix strategy has 4 dimensions. So we have width, which is the total number of product lines a company offers. We have length, which is the total number of products in a company's product mix. We have depth, the total number of product variations in a product line. And we have consistency, which indicates how product lines relate to one another. So an example of a product mix is, let's look at a simple product mix example for Coca-Cola. So we see that and assume that Coca-Cola oversees a couple of product lines. We said they have beverages. So one of their product lines is soft drinks. The other product line is juice. Again, both beverages. In the product classified as soft drinks, there's Coca-Cola, Fanta, Sprite, Diet Coke, Diet Coke Zero, and all the soft drink products. Whereas Minute Maid, still a Coca-Cola product, has more juice-related products, so guava, orange, mango, mixed fruits, etc. So the product mix consistency of Coca-Cola would be high, as all of these products within the product line fall under beverages. In addition, production and distribution channels remain similar for each product. So that's how, you know, your product mix strategy, they're all interconnected, but they provide different offerings to different target markets. So there's some key product mix strategies or ways to be able to strategize and you expand your portfolio. So the first one is expansion. A company increases the number of product lines or the depth with regards to different product variations within the lines. So sometimes expansion can be just a matter of adding more colors, adding more sizes. If your t-shirts, maybe you have short sleeves, long sleeves, turtlenecks, crew necks. You can also contract the market. So a company narrows its product mix to eliminate some of the lower performing products or lines, or to simply simplify the remaining product lines. So again, the more you can simplify your offerings, the easier it is to sell those products. You might want to make a change in an existing product. So a company improves the current product rather than creating a completely new one. So think about Coca-Cola, and they changed the formula for Coca-Cola, and people weren't liking it. So they had to actually go back to the original product, but instead of calling it Original Coke, it is now Coke Classic. So they did try to change an existing product, but the market wasn't going to have anything to do with it. So they had to change it back, but they did rename it and rebrand it. And then with regards to product differentiation, without modifying a product in any way, a product positions itself as a superior choice to a competitor product. So you're just doing certain things to just differentiate what it is you're offering ever so slightly to be more competitive. So when you think of your products, you might not have realized, well, what can I do to tweak my product to make it more desirable? So these are just different strategies you can use when you're looking at your product mix. Now, the next area we're going to take a look at is product descriptions. And a product description is used to show a product's value to a potential customer on your website or on a landing page or on your social media or in a brochure. If it's done well, it will provide the features and the benefits of the product, which will influence a potential customer to make that purchase. So features are attributes of the item that you're selling. The benefits are the perceived benefits that the consumer is getting from buying that particular product or service. So a product description should include a description on how it can fix a customer's problem. And a service description includes information about the service, how it's provided, how it's used, and what the customers will get from this particular service. So what's in it for them? I'm sure you've heard that. Anybody that makes a purchase is looking to solve a problem. Quite often it's emotional, and you need to determine what pain points or what are the challenges or what are the solutions that your product or service offers. Did you know that 88% of customers research a product before they buy it? That's true whether they're shopping in a physical store or online. So people are more savvy with regards to looking into different products. There used to be a time where they would solely rely on brand and use the same product all the time, but now people are willing to look at different product lines and different businesses and seeing, you know, who's going to give them the best bang for their buck. So a product description has high value. So when a customer considers purchasing what you have to offer, the only question in their mind is, how is this going to benefit me? If your description answers that question, it can convince a potential customer to pull the trigger on the purchase. So whether they hit the buy now button or they come into your location, pick up a phone, you need something that shows them or tells them the value that they're going to get from purchasing your product. You also need to be able to describe these benefits. So every product or service has benefits directly tied to what it is you're offering, and a good description emphasizes those benefits, increasing the desire for your product or service. And being able to showcase your value proposition is important as well. So again, that's what makes your product or service different from your competition. A good description will clearly communicate that difference to your audience. So it allows your offers to stand apart from the competition or any similar options that are on the market. So in the simplest of terms, a great product or service description is vital because it will quickly answer the most pressing questions about what you sell that makes it easier for the customer to decide whether they purchase from you or not. So there's a number of things that go into a product description. There's nothing worse when you're on a website and you're looking at their product description, you're looking at the pictures, and you're thinking, you're asking questions in your head and the answers aren't there. So these are the top 10 items that people will look at or will think about or want to know when they're on your website. So you need to be able to focus on your ideal buyer. So all the wording, the layout, the colors, everything has to be on brand. You want to make sure that you're thinking about who your ideal customer is. Even if you have different customers, who would be that one group of people, that 80% that purchases your product or service? You want to focus on the key benefits of purchasing. You also, will probably tell them about some of the features of the products and services that you offer, but you want to focus on the key benefits. What problems does it solve for those individuals? Using enticing titles. If you don't have an enticing title, then people might just skip right over it. So titles are still very important. There are programs or software online that will help you come up with enticing titles, so they're always fun to use. You want to be able to sort of tell a story when you're trying to sell a product or service. You want to use natural language and tone, especially keep the language consistent with your target market. Use power words that sell, and there's lots of power words you can find online. You want to make it easy to scan. So what that means is as you're looking at the website, you want it to be easy for the individual to follow. You might use bullet points, you might use bold print, but you want it to be easy when they're looking at it online to be able to just sort of have a nice flow. There's what's called on-page search engine optimization that we won't be covering here, but you should, know a little bit about how to optimize your website or landing page to get found on search engines. You definitely want to try to use some good product images. And also set goals and KPIs. So you want to set goals as to how many of these products do you want to sell in a quarter or over a year, in a season, or with this campaign. And then you want to make sure you can monitor that by establishing some key performance indicators. So I'm going to show you an example here. So I love this. This is Dr. Squatch. It reminds me of Sasquatch. So the first one is focus on your ideal buyer. So obviously the ideal buyer for this particular product is a woodsy outdoor guy. Obviously I get that from the picture I'm seeing. So consider how you would speak to the ideal buyer if you were selling your product in store, face-to-face. Now try to incorporate that language into your e-commerce site so you can have a similar conversation online that resonates more deeply with that individual. You want to be able to focus on the benefits, so entice with benefits. A great product description really helps with this. So their potential buyers are not as interested in mundane features and specs. They want to know what's in it for that individual, how it will address their biggest pain points. And successfully executing how to write a product description requires you to highlight those benefits of each feature. So some of the ways they've done this is by using enticing titles such as Get Dirty, Stay Clean, Soap as Tough as You Are. The whole description tells a bit of a story. It uses very natural language and tone, and it uses power words that sell. So the description is made with real pine extract. This all-star bar is as tough and as a freshly cut bat. A true MVP of the shower, this heavy hitter knocks out grime with its gritty composition and ultra manly woodsy scent. Toss in the exfoliation oatmeal and the super soothing shea butter, and you've got a bullpen of natural ingredients that will strike out any stink. Now, what I like about that is they have it based on a bit of a baseball theme. Again, you associate, that sort of thing with men, not everybody, but, when you're talking in terms of generalities. You might even want to invest in a copywriter to help you with, getting these stories and the natural language and the tone once you know who you're trying to reach and what benefits they're expecting. Copywriters, that's what they do. And this ad is easy to scan. You see the little buttons here. So that's easy scannable. It's made from natural oils. There's no harsh chemicals. It's cold pressed and it's sustainably sourced. So these are some of the psychographics likely that this particular market is interested in. Obviously, the owner or the marketers have done their research for this particular product. When we move on, this is this is at the top of the page, but you want to use good product images. So 63% of customers think that product image is more important than the description or even the reviews. So it's an important aspect of your product description to have actual photos itself, and have quality photos that will show the customers all the key features of your products. And it will allow the customer to imagine having this product in their life. So these are just the talks about, gives you notes, gives you some, reasons why, rugged, woodsy, heavy grit. It again gives you all the benefits. It has a picture. You can see it lathers up nicely. And it has pine tar. So it's kind of fun. I feel it's a product that a man would say, yeah, I would use that soap. And then it has the options, how you want to buy the bar. And I love their marketing strategy here. They have 1 bar is $9 each, 2 bars $9 each, 3 bars $9 each if you buy it one time. But again, you can subscribe. You can subscribe and be able to pay less. You get to get a bar a month, and it's only $18 if you get 3 bars. So it's just a different marketing strategy that they use. But you can see how all the different areas that we talked about come together and make this a good product and product description. The next area of this is to look at KPIs. And KPIs are key performance indicators. So some of the key performance indicators that you might want to take a look at is the conversion rate. So when people, if you're an e-commerce business, when they go to your website, the conversion website is, I can see 1,000 people went to my website this month, but only 500 purchased. So you might want to look into why that is. If they purchased, they would have sent you probably their email. And you can always follow up with them and ask them, do a little customer satisfaction survey on your website and why they made that purchase and what they were looking for in the purchase. So, being able to identify why people are purchasing off your website. The cart abandonment rate is usually on a lot of e-commerce sites as well. And again, I know with the one that I had, it provided their email address. And a lot of the time after every quarter, I would just reach out to these individuals, or even once a month, to find out, I see that you're on our website, you put some stuff in your cart but decided not to purchase. Would you mind letting me know why that is? Because, we always want to give our customers a good online experience. The return rate, so if people are purchasing your products but then returning them, that is something you want to keep track of. If there's a product that or service that if you're getting a lot of support inquiries, something is happening there that you're not providing them enough information on your website or on the packaging. And then again, taking a look at, where are you ranking in organic search rankings through Google or Bing. And there's different ways you can do that using Google Analytics. There's also strategies for on-page search engine optimization. We offer a course on search engine optimization, but it's something that if you want to learn more about, there are courses online that you can take a look at. So just to wrap up this section for the product portfolio key takeaways, many companies sell one or two products, but there are many companies that sell a lot of different products and services. This is mainly done to diversify or target a larger potential customer population, making sure to meet numerous needs, wants, and desires. Having a strong portfolio may help companies to withstand seasonality, recession, and changes in consumer behavior. That's why it's really important to always keep an eye on and talk to your customers to see what they're liking, why they're liking, what they're not liking, what do they need that you don't have or can offer. So keeping on top of your market intel or market research is very, very important, making sure you're understanding what the competition is doing. When you're looking at your product categories, again, these are the different groups of products that are similar and offer similar benefits. And through identifying related characteristics, marketers or yourself can determine what efforts would best appeal to consumers based on their purchasing behaviors for that particular item. So understanding how product category marketing works can help you raise brand awareness and outsell your competition. When you're looking at your product category marketing, this is a strategic method that focuses on how to best promote a group of related products. So marketers use this technique to help them select methods that best promote their products and services. So there's some different strategies that you can use to promote the different product categories that you might have. Next, the product mix strategy. So successfully expanding a product mix can help a business adjust to changing consumers' demands or preferences while reducing product risks and reliance on a single product or product line. This in turn generates substantial profits for your organization. But on the other hand, a poor product mix expansion can result in a detrimental impact on a company's brand image and profitability. So you really want to make sure you have a good product mix that supports the needs of your target audience or target audiences. And then a product description. You want to have a really good one of those to show a product's value to potential customers on your website and any marketing material, really. And if done well, it will provide the features and the benefits of the product or service, which will influence a potential customer to make a purchase. So that's why you have a website. It's a sales piece for you. You want it to be able to entice people or potential customers into purchasing what you have to offer. A product description should include a description on how it can fix a customer's problem. Many times customers go shopping to find a solution to a problem. So this is the perfect area to highlight why your product is the best product for them. So that's the end of the product portfolio. And we're going to move into pricing strategies, but I just want to see if we have any questions. So I know that there's a lot of information in these workshops. I can provide the slides if you want, but they don't have a lot of the background information. So you will be provided with the recording, and this will help, you know, if you need to take notes or want to help filling in some of your different templates. Okay, so let's take a look at pricing strategies. So pricing strategy refers to the models a business uses to find the best price for its product or services. Businesses base the price of their product and service sometimes on production, labor, marketing expenses, and then add on certain percentages so they can maximize profit and possibly shareholder value if you're a corporation. So setting the right prices for your product and services is a bit of a balancing act. So thinking about everything that goes into pricing can make your head spin. You have to think about your competitors. You have to think about your production costs, the customer demand, customer trends, industry needs, revenue goals, profit margin, the list goes on. So the art of pricing requires you to do the math, but it also requires, for you to do some steps that go beyond hard data and number crunching. You also have to calculate how much human behavior impacts the way prices are perceived. So some of the pricing factors that you really need to consider are costs. You need to be financially informed before setting your pricing. You want to work out the cost involved with running your business. So these costs include fixed costs, so the expenses that come every month, no matter what you do, regardless of sales. So this could be your telephone bills and heat and hydro and internet and loan payments and bank service charges and all those things. You know you're going to have those expenses whether you make a sale or not. And then you'll also have your direct costs, are also known as cost of goods sold, the expenses you incur by producing and delivering your products and or services. And then you have variable costs. And variable costs are ones that vary and are unpredictable. So these could be costs such as marketing. Marketing's not going to be the same cost every month. It's going to be based on your marketing sales calendar and your cash flow projection, or meals and entertainment, or gas and car repairs. Those usually aren't stagnant. They're not usually the same every month, but you really need to do a cash flow projection to be able to understand all the costs that you're going to have in any 12-month period. You also need to have a strong understanding of your customers, what products and service they're looking for. Are they driven by price? Do they perceive a higher quality product prices with a higher quality product or better value? You need to know what role does price play in their purchasing decision. So answering these questions will give you a better insight into your audience, who they are, and how you should be selling your product to them and what price you should be charging. So sometimes, again, depending on the product or the strategy, I do a little bit of everything. I market the research, I talk to potential customers, I look at my overhead costs, I look at my cash flow projections, I look at how much, what are my goals for sales for the year, and how is this all going to factor into how I price my products and services. So the third one is do your competitor research. Your competitors' prices have a direct impact on what you're able to charge. So you want to take a look at what they're charging for their different products and services. What are their different product lines? What's the depth, breadth, and length of what they're offering? What inclusions and levels of service are they offering for those prices? What customers are they trying to attract? And how are they positioned in the marketplace? So answers to these questions, again, will help to give you an industry benchmark on your pricing. Again, positioning comes into effect once you understand your customer. You need to look at your positioning, what makes your business genuinely different, how are you going to stand out amongst your competitors, so people find your product and your pricing strategy that reflects your values. And where do you want to be in the marketplace? Do you want to be the most expensive, luxurious, high-end brand in your industry? Or do you want to be the cheapest, beating your competition or other brands by 10%? Or do you want to be somewhere in the middle? So once you've decided, you will start to get an idea of your ideal pricing strategy. And the price that you charge really reflects on the value that's perceived on the products and services that you're offering. So we're going to take a look at 9 different strategies, and pricing strategy is important because it defines the value that your product is worth for you to make and for your customers to use. So it allows you to maximize profit margins. It also helps to create a competitive advantage by setting prices that help maintain market share. So we're going to look at all of these different strategies. There are more, but these are some of the more popular ones: cost price, cost plus, competitive, value-based, hourly, dynamic, price skimming, penetration, psychological, and bundling. So not all of them might appear as how you think they are. So we're going to go through each one of them. So the first one is cost price or cost plus pricing. This is fairly straightforward. You know your material costs, you know your labor costs, and you know your overhead costs. So your cost is your cost times your markup. So you decide what you want that markup to be. So in this case, you've decided my markup is going to be 43% and or 45%. And maybe you've defined this markup because you've done some research and you found that the price of marking up t-shirts is 45%. I'm not saying that's what it is, but maybe that's what you found. So that would give you your selling price. So it takes into consideration all that is needed, the materials, labor costs, so those are cost of goods, and any of your overhead costs are incorporated into your selling price. If you take a look at your overhead costs, let's say your overhead costs for the year were $10,000. And let's say your labor costs are based on an hour and a half to make the shirt from start to finish. So looking at this, the number of shirts one person can make per day is 4. So once you've added the 45% markup on top of the $40 total cost, that's what gives you your selling price. So again, take into consideration that cost price plus pricing does not take into account market conditions such as competitor pricing or perceived customer value. So if it was a designer t-shirt, you might be able to charge 4 times that. So again, you really need to take a look at who your competitors are, what they're charging, what your value proposition is, the material. Just there's so many things that you need to look at when you're doing cost plus pricing, but it's really important to know what that formula is. The next is just competitive pricing. You take a look at what your competitors are charging. And this is adopted by companies to set their prices after carefully evaluating the pricing strategies of their competitors. So that's why it's always important to know what your competitors are doing to be able to identify where you fit into the marketplace. There's also what's called value-based pricing, and this refers to setting a price based on how much the customer believes a product or service is worth. It's an outward approach that takes your target market's wants and needs into play. It's different from cost plus pricing, which takes the cost of the product into the pricing calculations. So companies that sell unique or highly valuable products are in a better position to benefit from value price pricing compared to ones that just sell standardized or commodity items. So Gucci, Rolls-Royce, you know, Gucci might sell watches, but it is a very fine quality. It has a designer name. People perceive value in that. It's got a strong brand. The products are in demand, so people will pay more money for that product, even though it's just a watch. There's also hourly pricing. A lot of businesses use hourly pricing. It's not the only way to use pricing for a service. This could also be called rate-based pricing. So this sort of pricing is commonly used by consultants, freelancers, contractors, individuals or laborers that provide services based on hourly pricing. So how one might do this, let's say you're a project manager. And I've done research, and the research shows me that the average project manager salary in Ontario is $84,000. So I want to make $84,000 a year, but I also have overhead. So let's take a look at what my overhead is. So in this example, let's assume it is $10,000. So I want to make $84,000. My overhead is $10,000, so that totals $94,000. So I need to make $94,000 to be able to make my average salary. But I also have to take into consideration the number of weeks I want to work in a year. So let's call that 48 because I want to have 4 weeks vacation. Let's say I only want to work or only have billable hours of 30 hours a week, because other hours in that week, I'm going to be answering telephone calls. I'm going to be putting marketing strategies together. I'm going to be answering emails. So after I take a look at, 94,000 divided by the 48 weeks, divided by 30 billable hours, that equals $65 per hour. So that's what I need to charge to be able to make that 84,000. So my goal is to make that. Now I have to just come up with strategies and marketing and all that goes with running a business to be able to get 30 hours a week of billable hours. On top of that $65 an hour, I'll probably also want to add in travel and accommodation as need be. So it could be $65 plus. Okay, dynamic pricing. So dynamic pricing is a common practice in several industries such as hospitality, tourism, entertainment, electricity, transportation such as Uber. So basically what happens in dynamic pricing is there's a couple of different strategies. The first one is segmented pricing. And this strategy offers different prices for different customers. So that means that customers are divided into different segments. So for example, you might have a high value customer that you offer high prices to. And here we can assume that they might put service speed and quality over price. So I might price a particular service for $1,500 and you can get that service over 2 weeks. But maybe they need it done in 1 week. So I might provide the same service, but charge them $2,500 because I'm having to hire an extra person and I'm having to work longer hours and do it in a shorter amount of time. So that's the segment pricing. Time-based pricing is when you want to charge more just for providing faster service. So sometimes you can charge more if you're going to do same-day service. If you're ordering something from Amazon or one of those, if you want same-day service, you have to pay more. And then also you could use this with changing market conditions. So market conditions change to a number of factors. These could be sales are starting to fall. The company might lower prices to be able to. So dynamic pricing is really just a fluctuation in pricing. And then you'll notice in, bed and breakfast and hotels at peak seasons, they charge more. And through the week, sometimes they charge less and charge more on weekends, or they might charge less doing packaging. So again, this is dynamic pricing where pricing could change. Next is price skimming. And it refers to, and it's usually an e-commerce business charges a higher initial price to customers that really want the product or service, and then it lowers it over time. So a good example of this is iPhone. When iPhones come out, they're really, really expensive. And as time goes on, the price begins to lower. So that's called price skimming. And it's useful if there are enough prospective buyers that are willing to buy a new product at a high price. The high price doesn't attract competitors. Lowering the price only has a small impact on profitability and reducing unit costs, or the high price is seen as an exclusive and high quality. So not all businesses can use the price skimming strategy. Penetration pricing is exactly that. Penetration pricing is when you're trying to penetrate the market and get a lot of sales. And this is usually in the form of coupons or rebates, seasonal pricing, or other related markdowns. So it's an excellent strategy, especially if it is you have a lot of product or it's seasonal. So using penetration pricing can be very effective, and quite often in certain businesses anyway, you can get deals if you buy quantity. So you might buy, quantity is something that is going to sell really well in a particular season. And because you're buying higher quantities, you're getting it at a lower price. You would still say the price is, $10 per unit, but because you're getting a cheaper price on it, buying it in bulk, you might offer a 10% discount or a 20% discount or $2 off or something like that. So that's what's known as penetration pricing. And then charm pricing or psychological pricing, we've all heard it, we know what it is. And this is when retailers sell with odd numbers. It shows that humans will look at a price point of $2.99 and consider it $2 as opposed to $3. If we see $3, we know it's $3. But when customers look at it, they want to see a lesser value psychologically. So they see $2 instead of $2.99. So $2 seems cheaper than $3. So it's just using pricing psychology to price your product. And if you charge $2.99, it's easy to calculate if they're buying 5 items. You just round it up the penny and say $15, please. And then we've seen this, price bundling. So the more items you put together, the lower the price is. And what's nice about this, somebody might come in and say it's for food and they only want to buy a hamburger. But if you throw in some fries and a drink, which they may or may not buy with the hamburger, you can offer it at a bit lower price. And now it sort of forces them to buy the extra item. So it's sort of upselling or cross-selling. And you've probably all heard it at McDonald's or any of those drive-thrus. Would you like fries with that? They're just upselling the order and saying, well, if you want that, if it's cheaper if you buy our such and such a package. And you say, oh, cheaper, that sounds great. I think I'll do that. So that's what bundle pricing is all about. So with pricing strategy takeaways, the business environment is consistently changing, and that can affect your goals and your margins. So getting the pricing right is one of the hardest challenges that you might face in your business. But by adopting a scientific, data-backed pricing principles, you can exact the maximum value you can get from your customer base. So again, it's a matter of doing some research and looking at different strategies that you think will work for your product or services. Your pricing strategy is based on your target market, what they are willing to pay, and what your competitors charge for similar products. Remember, consumer trends can also affect the pricing of your pricing strategies. Competitors, knowing what they're charging again and what they're offering can help you make your products, services, and marketing stand out. It also enables you to set prices that are competitive and helps you respond to rival marketing campaigns with your own initiatives. So knowing what the competition is doing can really help you move forward. You can also do the research yourself, or if you don't have time, sometimes you might want to hire a college student, or most colleges and universities have what are called applied projects, and you might be able to get a team of students or a student as part of their program to be able to help you with that. So if you're looking for someone to help you with your marketing strategies, help you with your website, help you with your business planning, reach out to the local college and or university. They might have programs or be able to offer you students as part of their curriculum to help you do this research. You want to make sure you know what the market is willing to pay, how your products and services and company are perceived in the market, again, what your competitors charge. Is their product or is your product highly visible? And you want to estimate the volume of product that you're going to be able to sell. So there's a number of reasons why you really want to be sure that you take a look at your pricing strategies, because these different strategies can help you position your product to increase sales without affecting the demand. You can frame pricing using psychological principles to maximize potential revenues. You can base prices on demographic data, depending on what it is they're looking for and why they're purchasing a particular product or service. You can adopt the dynamic pricing that changes along with the customer's journey. You can apply bundle pricing to provide customers with perceived value, or you can attract new customers with penetration pricing, such as buy one, get one free, or 20% off, or $10 off, or bundling it. So it's really important to have a well thought out pricing strategy to optimize both sales volume and your profit. The last area we're going to take a look at here in the last little bit, and I'm sorry if I'm going to run over just slightly, is the break-even analysis. And the break-even analysis refers to the point in which the total cost and total revenue are equal. So the break-even point is used to determine either the number of units or the number of dollars in revenue you need to cover all your total costs. So these are both fixed and variable. So this is just what the diagram would look like, and I'm going to explain it very quickly. So the blue line, you have your fixed costs and you have your variable costs as the costs that might fluctuate: your marketing, gas, meals and entertainment. And again, you'll be able to identify what these are if you have done your cash flow projection. The cost of goods sold is the green line, which is any material, supplies, labor that goes into producing a particular product or service. The break-even point is the number of units or the dollar value that you have to sell to break even. And anything under that break-even point is a loss. Anything above the break-even point is a profit. So this is an example of a break-even point for a local business. This local business builds picnic tables, and they want to determine what their break-even point is based on the following information. So first, they need to know what their fixed costs are. In this example, it's $10,000. They need to know their material cost per picnic table. In this example, it's $250. They need to know their labor cost per picnic table. In this example, it's 6 hours that they pay someone at $15 an hour. And then they also need to know what their selling price is, or the revenue. So they sell these picnic tables for $750. But this still doesn't tell us how many we have to sell or what the sales value is. So we have to have two other calculations. The first one is knowing what our gross profit is. And a gross profit is the amount of income left over after subtracting the cost of producing and selling the product from its total sales revenue. So in this example, the revenue we determined was the total revenue was $750. And then we're taking away the cost of goods sold. So the cost of goods sold in the example was the $250 plus the $15 times 6, and that totals $340, which leaves us with a gross profit of $410. We also need to know the gross profit margin. So the gross profit margin, also called gross profit margin, is a percentage of the company's revenue that is greater than the cost of goods sold. So this is a financial ratio that demonstrates how effectively a business generates revenue compared to managing their production costs. So we want to know what our gross profit margin is for this. So from the previous calculation, our gross profit was $410. We know the revenue is $750, and we multiply that by 10. So our gross profit divided by our gross revenue times 100 will give us our gross profit margin. And in this particular example, it is 57%. So again, if you're following along on the worksheet, you can just write those numbers in the calculations in the little box if you like. So to determine our break-even point, we take our fixed costs, which are $10,000, divide it by our gross profit, which is $410. And when you do that, that equals 24 units. So to break even, we need to sell 24 units. Once we sell more than 24 units, anything above that is our profit. So that's how you would determine what the number of units are that you would have to sell of picnic tables. If you're more interested in what are those sales, then you would take the fixed costs, which are the $10,000, and you divide it by the gross margin, which we calculated to be 57%. So 10,000 divided by 50,000 or 57% leaves us with $18,000. So we have to either sell 24 units or $18,000, which if you multiply the 24 units by the retail price will give you that 18,000. So again, your break-even analysis or the break-even point is where the number of units or the total sales that you have to sell to break even before you start making any profit. So using a break-even analysis, you'll be able to understand where your fixed costs are, your variable costs, and at what point are you going to be making money. So what if your sales change? For example, if the economy is in a recession or your sales drop. If your sales drop, then you might risk not selling enough to meet your break even. So what do you do then? Well, there's a couple of things you can do. So you want to take a look at your break even formula to see that there can be two solutions. So the two solutions are you can either raise the price of your product or service, or you can find ways to cut costs, either your cost of goods, your fixed and or variable. You could also diversify your revenue streams. So in this example, you're making picnic tables. So start by recognizing how you can diversify and maybe add to your current service or product offerings. So you might, expand your line or deepen your line. So if you're making picnic tables, you could develop new revenue sources, such as maybe making Adirondack chairs, or maybe benches, dog houses, raised planters, trellises, garden sheds. So again, knowing what your break-even point is, and if you see that you're not reaching it in the time frame that you anticipated, you might need to diverse some of your different revenue streams. So to break-even analysis, it can help manage other aspects of your businesses. So it can also help you set budgets. So determining the effects of changes in fixed and variable costs, how that would affect your budget. It can help you motivate sales. So if you tell them we need to sell X number of units in this month, then it might give them some motivation to get that done. Or even if you provide, little benefits for making sales quotas, then that might help them get motivated to get out there and really start selling. You want to be able to monitor and control your costs. So knowing what your break-even control points are is very important. And with your break-even charts, you can gauge the impact of selling your prices or the sales volume and profitability. So if you decide to, run a sale, do you anticipate selling more units, and how is that going to affect your break-even point? So when you think about your capacity to produce your products and services, you really need to have a good understanding of the number of units you're capable of producing. So just so you know where this fits into the marketing mix, which you've probably heard of, product price is really important in the marketing mix. And before you can even get to the promotion part of your marketing mix, you really need to understand your target market, the product that you're offering, and how you're pricing and the strategies that you're using. So that's the end of the presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to stop sharing and answer any questions that you may have.